They say that faith can move mountains, and these women are proving just that, using their faith-based Stokvel to overcome financial challenges and support one another. With contributions ranging from just 200 Rand to 500 Rand, let's find out how they are achieving their financial goals, big and small, with my resident expert guest, Thabiso Masudubele. Thabiso, thank you for joining us once more.
Hi, thanks for having me, Nont.
Now, faith, church and money. In theory, it goes together, but practically it never works out or hardly works out. So can you just share your perspective as a consultant? How can they balance this?
Like you correctly say, I think religion and money, sometimes it's oil and water type stuff, but we do know that they do converge most of the time. Because in the religious world, you still have to cater for things that require financial resources. So I do think that it's something that a lot of religious organizations grapple with, and how to deal with issues of spirituality and religion and issues of logistics, where the church actually needs money to operate its day-to-day activities. So there's no right answer there. The only thing that we guide religious communities to do is to make sure that when dealing with money, these are earthly things. So you've got to abide by earthly rules and earthly compliance issues. So for instance, if you're going to collect money, if there are certain things that you want to do in financial services, always make sure that you familiarize yourself with the rules that pertain to whatever it is you want to do. So I remember in the past we engaged with a huge religious community, and they were saying they'd like us to assist them with underwriting. But their idea was that they want to collect the money and they want to do certain things, and we had to guide and say, no. Unfortunately, in this world, which is, the physical world, which is not spiritual, there are these rules that don't allow for such things to happen. So there's no right answer, but we do guide religious communities along what can and can't be done when it comes to issues of managing people's money.
The slowness from traditional to digital is kind of understandable when looking at the age category as well from Masakhane. So can you just share how can they make that a strong or a faster transition rather, in order for them to have, financial goals or financial objectives that can be, reached effectively?
I think it's one of the challenges that a lot of groups face. I mean, if you look at the average age as well, these aren't younger people. So what we always say to groups is that, there's a lot of things to consider, a lot of which revolve around security. So it's not only about optimizing the resources that you have, but you've got to protect the resources that you have and how you go about things. So technology, religion, and age, that combination presents a challenge. But we then guide groups to say, there are people who, in that age bracket, are receptive to technology. So we do share with them things like, you don't have to bring cash to your meetings and bring cash to your congregation. You can imagine if you're a church community and everyone, has to bring in cash, hard cash, the issues of security. And then it becomes known in the community and it falls on the wrong ears that, there'll be 1,000 people at the church and we know that they're going to tithe, or everyone is bringing 500 Rand. People start making calculations and they know that there's money. So that opens up a whole basket of risks. So we then introduce them to things like being able to say there's an account that people can individually go to, a bank account, and deposit that money. Even with depositing, it's little things like the difference between depositing inside the bank with the teller or depositing at the ATM, because the charges are different. I think banks are encouraging people to deposit money more at the ATM because it's cheaper. But then again, you have to have someone who then shows people how to make those deposits. So there are those little things that you can do. And then beyond those ATM deposits, there are also issues of depositing. You can open different accounts where you're able to deposit at retailers. So a lot of insurance, for instance, they give you like a membership number. When you pay your municipal bills or your insurance, you're able to pay it at different retailers. So we help groups maybe pay through those types of platforms where we've got an account with the various service providers that enable payments at retailers. We then say it's possible to get almost like membership numbers at those retailers, and then those monthly payments are made through those platforms. And at least it's a bit safer, where when people then meet at the church or meet where they meet, they're able to then produce deposit slips and receipts that they've made the deposits. But the receiver of the funds will also have proof that the money did get into the account that was nominated.
Let's just look at the premiums or the flexible contributions here. Are they realistic? 200, 500, is it sustainable?
You know, it always comes back. So, Rona, in our discussions with groups, we always talk about what do you want to achieve? And what you want to achieve must also be realistic. So, in terms of the premium being realistic, I mean, it's difficult for us when we engage to say what's, you know, you can't get into people's pockets and what they can afford. So if they say they can afford the numbers that they're giving, that's what they can afford. You have to take their word for that. The only thing that you can manage is the expectation. To say if 200 Rand is what you can afford, what is your expectation from 200? And that's where we come in. To say, is it realistic to expect something that requires a lot more than 200 from 200? And therein lies the problem, where people's, you know, Thabiso earns 10,000 Rand a month, but he'd like to purchase a high-end vehicle. So you've got to manage what you are able to purchase with what you do have. So for us, it's not about saying what's affordable so much for people, because we don't know people's income, and people more often than not, you know, will inflate the amount of money that they have, and a lot of people, we know, live beyond their means and so on. So you rely on people to say, this is what I can afford from a monthly contribution point of view. What we can control from that is what you can get on the other side. So for instance, if a group says, we've decided that we'll pay 200 Rand each, but every member, you know, will get funeral cover for their family or anyone that they've nominated for 10,000 Rand, and there's 10 of us, we take them through a process to show them that actually that's not sustainable. That's not feasible. There will come a time where, you know, you'll pay 1, 2 claims. After that, you won't have resources to pay the others. So you've got to relook at the benefits in relation to what you can afford from a contribution point of view.
So we'll just pause right there. Please do stay tuned. We will be back after this short break.